Would you say that homelessness is a choice?
Why would anyone want to be homeless, right? That's not something that we come into this world wanting to do. If you're feeling unsafe in your home, like sometimes it's safer to be out on the streets or homeless than it is to be in an abusive situation.
Hi, I'm Timon. I work at an organisation called Betel UK, and my role there is I head up outreach, public relations, and I also help support people who are coming out of addiction and homelessness.
Hello, my name's Tylene and I'm from YMCA LCAN and I am a Resident Pathways Officer Site Lead. Let's get started. Okay, why does homelessness happen?
Wow, there can be a whole raft of reasons. It's not usually one event that leads to homelessness. In my experience, it's usually a catalogue of things going wrong in someone's life. Relationship breakdown, losing a job, poverty, traumatic events, compound reasons that lead to it.
100%.
How can homelessness happen to young people?
So there's many different ways. A lot of it starts in the home, so whether it's abuse. Also, we have a lot of people in our residents who had to flee from war. So it can be just unsafe circumstances, unsafe homes, trauma. There's so many different reasons that lead to homelessness in youth, especially mental health challenges that's on a rise as well. So yeah, there's not just one thing, definitely not. What would you say to someone who says homelessness cannot be fixed?
No, homelessness can be fixed, but I think there are a number of things that really need to happen to motivate people to move into a situation where they're looking for help. One of the biggest barriers to people seeking long-term help for homelessness is a lack of hope, that people actually do believe that there is no way out of it. They look at the hill they've got to climb and it just seems insurmountable to them.
Yeah. At the YMCA, we seeing our residents every day, we're able to give them that hope. We do training opportunities and just workshops with them, whether it's like how to move on or when you're feeling sad, what you should do, just little things like that to remind them that we're here for them and that if they need anything, that we can offer them that hope if they don't have it themselves, which is great.
Yeah, I really agree with what you've said because in my experience, and I've been doing this for 20 years now, working in this area, and I find it's those little things that are really like the glue that holds people together, like learning stickability, learning relational skills, learning, resilience, getting up, going to work, putting something positive into a day when maybe you don't feel like it. Those just small moments of support and encouragement and inspiration that people get throughout the day. I really, really agree with that. Would you say that homelessness is a choice?
I would say it's not. It's not because why would anyone want to be homeless, right? That's not something that we come into this world wanting to do. Like I said in the previous question, there's so many different circumstances that lead people to homelessness. And if you're feeling unsafe in your home, like sometimes it's safer to be out on the streets or homeless than it is to be in an abusive situation, to be in a war-stricken country. So circumstances lead youth to become homeless, and that is the only way that they can get out of their sticky situation.
Becoming homeless maybe through addiction is not one choice. Like you said, no one at 9 years old, the career advisor asks a 9-year-old child, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And they say, I want to live in the shop doorway homeless. They're not going to say that.
Yeah.
However, homelessness can be the result of 1,000 bad choices, but those choices are often driven by a pressure. Things like dysfunctional families, traumatic experiences, relationship breakdown, and all of those kind of drivers push people into making, less than ideal choices.
For people who don't work in addiction, how can you tell if the homeless person asking for money is addicted to a substance, or if they're just maybe homeless for another reason?
Personally, because I come from an addicted background myself, I can look at someone and generally I can tell whether they're intoxicated. And sometimes people will fall into that because they're homeless. It might not have been the reason why they are homeless, but they've fallen into addiction because they're living rough on the streets. They're mixing with other people. Most people, I think it's something like 70% statistically of homeless rough sleepers have an addiction problem to one degree or another. So they're going to be exposed to that living on the street. And if you're stuck out on the street, then a way of medicating the pain of that, you know, is quite understandable why people, and we certainly don't want to judge people. Why don't people go to shelters or accept help?
Of course, there are people who go to shelters and accept help, but for those who don't, I think there's many reasons. One is because sometimes you feel more unsafe again in the shelter than you would maybe out in the streets. There's many different reasons. They can know people who've been in a shelter and had a terrible experience, and then accepting help, like that's like you said, like to want to accept that help, you have to be in a certain mindset, right? Like sometimes you're on the streets and you're just the way you accepted the way you're living kind of, and you're okay with it, and you know the addiction or whatever might be something that like you like for the time being, and you're not accepting the person like you who gives them a flyer because you just want the money for the drugs for that day. But for the YMCA, we are a building, a residential building. We have like 87 bed spaces, and we're not a shelter. The council has to refer you to us, and so we have we have people from 18 to 35 years old. To get to our building takes a lot, and in between there, you're again maybe on the streets or couch surfing, and so to get to that final destination takes a lot.
So would you say homelessness is increasing in the UK?
Definitely. It's tough. It's tough to see, and we have like a large list of people wanting to move into our building, and that number just keeps growing because there's always people who need some place to live. There's always people who don't have the money or are fleeing, and it's tough. It
seems to be such a common thread through all of this, is particularly with young people, don't see any point in pursuing the traditional course of finding a trade or a job or further education for a career, because it's so difficult to aspire to owning your own home. These days there's very few people that can afford to get onto the housing ladder, and I think that really erodes people's hope.
A lot of people judge, but it's like if you haven't been in their shoes, you have no clue what they're going through. You have absolutely no clue.
That's so true. People have such a stereotypical image of a homeless person is like a drug addict in a shop doorway begging. And they've got there through their own poor choices. And that can be the case, but it doesn't speak to every situation by a long shot.
Okay, people online ask, why don't homeless people just get a job? What would you say to that?
What's the use of a job if you're homeless? How are you going to sustain a job? There are so many things that need to click together in the right sequence, in the right order, at the right time, for people to lift themselves out of a homeless, chaotic situation. We have peer-led mentoring and supporting. That means that people who have been there and have overcome those issues in their own lives come alongside people that are coming out of those situations. Like a lot of people that come through Betel, I know a lot of guys, they're running their own businesses now. Like even guys that know how to sell drugs. Well, that's a guy that's got, actually, if you can redeem those abilities, that guy can run a business. So for someone to hold down a job takes more than just here's a job. They need to learn the soft skills, like being able to relate to other people in the workplace, being able to be like things like being task oriented. And I think that's why it's so important for people to have access to opportunities like your organization and our organization.
I like the fact that you said the peers are somebody who were in their situation previously, right? I think that's so important because it's like, to get help just from anybody is one thing, but like for that person to be someone that was in your shoes, wow, like you're on the other side. So you're looking at somebody like, I can be you one day, like I can get to that point one day. And I think that's amazing. How can I actually help people who are homeless?
That really is $1 million question, and that tugs at people's heartstrings. And I think, so what can I do to help people? Is I always say that help needs to be redemptive help, genuine love will point people in the right directions. But you know, there's a tough truth to that as well, that you're basically putting the onus of responsibility on people, saying that there is help out there if you're willing to make the effort yourself. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying don't help people at a point of crisis. If someone is starving to death, then obviously give them food. The point I'm trying to make in a nutshell really is we need to be applying the right kind of help at the right time in the right sequence.